Welcome to Shone's Thoughts. I'm going to try something that I tried before, and it was sitting in obscure spots. And if you watched a video that I was doing prior to this, where the audio was cut off for the whole entire talk, and actually what I had done was I had crawled down to this area on a tree that was on the side of a river, I guess, but overhanging on a river. It would actually have been a tree that had fallen over and was in a really obscure spot. And my camp has been beside this particular tree right here. So I'm going to essentially see if I can find my way to the middle of where you're looking now. So welcome to Shone's Thoughts. I'm just going to sit down here, straddle this tree, I guess is probably the safest way to sit here. And thank you for joining me. I was actually just creating a podcast a few minutes ago, and there was a sudden gust of wind as I was saying something, so I took that as a meaning of perhaps I wasn't supposed to be doing that particular podcast. See, because actually I was doing it with just the river in the background. This is not actually all that comfortable. This is definitely a lot more comfortable. And so I wasn't in the frame myself, so perhaps that's the reason why, it didn't work. Yeah, it's pretty nice that way. But I think I'm going to sit this way so I can look at the camera. I've been at this campsite now for 4 nights. And actually I did stay here for a few nights prior to this. Not this exact campsite, but the one that was further up. And yeah, I've actually met 2 gentlemen who actually, one of them is bringing his infant son and his family to the campsite that's now over in that direction. And then there was another guy who wanted to bring his friends, and they were going to stay over there. And there's been a lot of different people here. Yeah, and it's been a pretty interesting experience. But what I kind of learned from this whole situation was the solitude. That part of healing is being in isolation, being able to be with oneself, with one's own thoughts and ideas. Because I really do think that leads to allowing one to have the clarity to self-reflect. When we're on that treadmill and we're constantly running, going after the things that we think that we want, all of the debt slavery systems, attributes and lures and all those lovely things, we tend to lose sight of perhaps the silence that we require in order to have those cognitions and insights. Yes, that's what I was talking about in my other podcast that I had just started, is having those moments of silence in order to actually allow those thoughts, those ideas, those insights, those cognitions to surface and then to explore them. See, when we're so busy doing things, taking care of things, taking care of the whole world around us, we often lose sight of that which is so important to us, and that is our time to be by ourselves. Well, we are part of a whole group. We are living individual experiences, perhaps varying perspectives for God to see through us. In order for us to have that connection, or at least to strengthen the connection that has been essentially thwarted by the world around us, we have to have those times of being by ourselves. And so for me, this was a large part of that, being able to come here and sleep within the wilderness, ground all day long. One of the things that I think is cool about dogs, for example, is they walk around the world. Like, their owners take them everywhere in the world, and they're in their bare feet. So that means dogs are constantly grounding with the earth. I kind of laugh at those people who put the little dog slippers on dogs. You know, if there's a medical reason that you're trying to protect something, sure, but doing it because it looks cute, that's funny. But anyways, I think that dogs and wild animals are truly blessed to walk around on the earth and constantly be grounded and connected to the energy of our planet. And for me, for the last 4 nights, I did exactly that. I slept in a tent. I didn't have one of those air foam mattresses. I had blankets to lie on made from cotton. And so I was truly connected to the earth. See, those blow-up mattresses are usually made of polyurethane, and that's an insulator. So when you're using, plastic to stand in between you and something else, whether it's an air foam, like a blow-up mattress, or, even shoes, or prophylactics perhaps even, those things are essentially blocking the energy transfer between you and what you're interacting with. So if it's the ground of the earth that you're interacting with and you're in a polyurethane, blow-up mattress, then you might not be as strengthened with the ground. Yet when you walk with your bare feet on the ground, you are definitely balancing your energy to a higher degree. And so for the 4 last nights, I've been doing that. And I've been getting a lot of clarity and insight about my own life and about the direction that I want to go. See, to be out here in this moment, as I mentioned in one of my podcasts before, I had to literally go through everything that I went through, including having almost no money, including almost fully breaking away from the monetary system. My debit card actually, although it's been useless for this last year because, as I've mentioned before, perhaps the government decided to drain all of the money out of it, telling me that I owed them money that I didn't actually owe them. But anyways, that's a side story. My debit card actually expired, and I'm running on very little bits of money, essentially enough to do what I need to do. I'm disconnecting from a lot of different systems as best as I can, as possible as I can. A lot of people keep talking about, we're in this world and we need to do the best that we can do while being in this world. Well, if you listen to my podcast and you listen about the things that I think and talk about, I believe that we are on the verge of breaking free from this world. And I don't necessarily mean everyone. See, everyone's on their own journey of this particular life that we're living. And some people are just getting that new car or just getting that new house that they finally worked so hard to get. So they're not necessarily on, the getting out part. They're getting just to where they wanted to be. And everyone, in a sense, is on their own perfect journey. And for me, I'm sitting out here on the edge of a log over a river doing a podcast about breaking free from the matrix, from the system that we were all stuck within. Because I know with certainty, intuitive certainty, I guess, there is a better world, a world that is more balanced with technology and nature, where our organicness is very important. And our desires and dreams are equally important. Recognizing that our desire and dreams should never infringe on the free will of another person. But yet, we are meant to be here to truly live. Not live for the next scrap that's knocked off the table like a mouse running over. And by the way, I had the mouse in my car again. I actually put my half-eaten bag of chips up on the dashboard, rolled up. And when I came in this morning to see the car, there was a mouse hole eaten into the bag of chips. No mouse, but he's obviously made his way back to wherever he is. But anyways, we aren't made here on this earth to barely live the lives that we are living. We are meant to raise our families in loving, strengthened relationships who know how to problem solve, who know how to work together, how to love together, how to support together. And our restrictions that have been applied to us, one man, one woman, and happily ever after, that whole part of relationships, I don't see being a part of my future. Not necessarily the idea that, things are going to come and go. I mean that normal nuclear style of a family that ends up blowing up a lot of times because people are struggled to accept what seems to be, a challenge. All I know is I'm out here on a log right now, and I've learned so many different things. I've learned that I can actually, while I'm within a challenge, learn the lessons from that challenge rather than having to wait to get through it. And it makes going through the challenge a lot more easier. Truly it does. To stop, take a breath, and ask yourself, why is this happening right now? Have you ever done that? Have you ever been in an argument and then asked and stopped yourself, why is this argument happening right now? What is here that I can learn from? Recognizing that everything in our life we co-create. And I think that that's a large part of coming to understand healing in oneself's journey, is that we co-create our reality. We're not altogether responsible for everything that happens. We don't manifest our entire reality. We co-create it. We do it with the divine guidance of God, of Source. We do it in polarity if that's the requirement to learn. I also learned that I could do this. I could live within nature, out in bear country as they call it. Never saw a bear, but I did see skunks and birds and eagles and hawks and lots of mice, squirrels, woodpeckers. So I saw a lot of nature, and I was outside or inside my tent where I heard nature going around me at night. And there was no fear within me. I embraced it. I trusted that we are all love and that this world that I am creating, if I let go of the worries, the scares, the fears, all of those horror movies about being out in nature, if I let go of all of that, then I'm able to immerse myself within the healing energy of Mother Earth. It's simply learning about being able to stand on my own 2 feet. And that's what I learned coming here. And I had to build up to getting here. Means I had to stay at campsites where I was paying people to stay on their little plot of land, and that sometimes they were nearby, but not always. I stayed in one campsite where there was like 3 people in 86 campsites. The guy came along to collect the money, never came back, and there was no one there the whole time except for those 3 groups. But that was part of the build-up. Staying in one of my favorite campsites in hope that the family that runs it stays there, and a lot of other campers are coming through on their way to somewhere else. And the place is immaculately beautiful. Like, I just love it. I definitely hope to share some time with all of you who are perhaps on your own journey too. And anyways, I had to build up my ability to stay here. The first night I stayed here by myself. However, there was lots of other people camped around me. The second night I stayed here, my cousin was here with me. And once again, those same people were camped around us. The next time that I came back, I stayed in this exact campsite. And the campsite where I had stayed originally had people in it. And so they were partying all night, and I just went to sleep happy as a bug, listening to their Indian music, blazing out throughout the night. And it was a weekend, and there was lots of other people in the other campsites as well, all around me. And then I stayed a few nights with my cousin, and then I came back here all by myself, and now for the last 4 nights, I've built up to the ability, to the stamina, to the sovereignty to actually be here by myself. And because I've been here by myself, I've had so much time to ponder, contemplate, and think about all the different aspects of my journey, my healing journey, my growing journey, and what's to come. One of the things that I've come to realize is that we all teach, and that perhaps I shouldn't shy away from teaching, because we teach by the nature of our being, is kind of what my book, the Book of Mastery by Paul Selig, it's the 4th book that I was reading today. Well, not the 4th book I was reading today, but it's the 4th book in his series of books. And I was reading a part of chapter 7, or day 7. And it was talking about teaching and about how we're all here to teach. Synchronistically enough, I was having a conversation with my cousin, and he was expressing to me how I needed to accept being a teacher. And often I would bring up this episode that I had with Greg Braden, but yet even the tranquility and the idea to sit here in my own stillness, realizing, and especially reading that book, I was able to derive a new understanding of what teaching means. See, I've had an experience of being a teacher. I taught in a high school in Shanghai, in the Pudong, China, in Shanghai. And I taught almost 100 students in a high school, as well as another 100 students that were in a private school, like a private English school. So I've had my experience of being a teacher, and I love it. I love teaching. I love helping people grow. I love helping people discover and learn about what they truly are passionate about. And I guess that's one of the challenges that I have had with this whole experience of my podcast journey, is that there have been limitations placed upon me. So what I perceive as my view count, for example, has been minimalized. And my interactions through comments and such. Now, I've had close friends of mine and actual real subscribers tell me that they weren't getting notifications, that they weren't getting my messages, that my messages weren't coming through, that my videos weren't coming through. And I've had so many other different issues with getting what I wanted out there. And perhaps all of these, issues have what has been led to even me building myself and my confidence as me. Because this whole experience is becoming to realize that I can do this on my own. However, I prefer to do it with other people, honestly. And, I'll find ways always to make it through the grace of God and the love of Source, them being the same thing. Yet, I truly would love to do it with a lot more joy, a lot more fun, a lot more sharing the love and the exploration with people. So we'll see how this goes. Every day is a new day, a new opportunity to allow for change. And I'm allowing for it. I'm getting ready to leap. I'm already leapt off, actually. My metaphor of a roller coaster is that I've already descended down, and really all that is holding me back is the last car while I'm in the front car of the roller coaster. Because my cart is already over and I'm already going down super fast. It's just there's still the anchoring of that final car that I'm essentially going to take along with me. And so if you'd like to jump in any of those roller coaster cars and see where this whole journey leads us, I invite you to come visit me on Patreon. Come join my community, because that's another thing that I've learned, that I truly do believe that that is a potential and has great potential to be an amazing community. And all it requires for those who are still in the monetary system, $1 at minimum. And for those who aren't in the monetary system, whether you're too young or, you don't have the money, and I fully understand that, you can join for free. And more importantly, you can go to YouTube and you can put one of my playlists on, any of them, and allow that whole playlist to play through. Do that for me. Like, I'm asking you, if you got to this end of the audio, I'm asking for you to go to a playlist and let's get over that hump of 4,000 hours that I've been stuck on with YouTube for 3 years. See, YouTube has this policy where in order to monetize or to monetize, and monetization isn't something that I care about because I'm not interested in selling stuff. However, I would love to be able to see people being able to contribute with super buys and all that lovely stuff. And that can only happen after I get 4,000 hours. 3,000 hours is the first step, 4,000 hours, so an extra 1,000 hours is the second step. So if you could, honestly, please go into one of my podcasts or my playlists and just play one of them while you go out. Put it on almost mute, like lower the volume down to barely being heard, and then go to sleep in the next room and just allow the whole thing to play. And do that as often as you are called to. And perhaps that's what can get YouTube to share and expand our community. And then when we expand it, when more people join Patreon, then, my visions of what we could do in our lives, and I say our lives, I mean my collective, our collective, those who are even with me right now that I'm unable to perceive. Which is you on the other side of the camera, for example, but perhaps the Sasquatch that are across the river. Who knows, right? So I'm going to ask you to do that. And, being out here and recognizing what I want to do, and what I want to do is travel around everywhere, meet people, share the knowledge, the wisdom, the insight, or just overall my presence with other people, and together start rippling out that energy that we have been working on so hard to ground. So I want to thank you so much for sharing this time and attention with me. I trust that the world is about to dramatically change. I appreciate everything that I have been blessed with, every experience, every moment of love. But however, I'm ready for a lot more love, a lot more. And I hope you are too. Man or woman, gay or straight, upside down or right side up, however it is, liberal or Republican, because together we can get rid of all those labels and we can just be a group of people who are living together wherever we are, all across this lovely planet, connected by technology, but more importantly, connected by love. The aspect of God that flows through us all. The frequency of that which connects all of us. Love. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day.